Hey, what's up? It's Thomas here, and today I thought I would share some of my favorite tech that's non-guitar gear specific, i.e. a guitar pedal, a quad cortex, or an actual guitar, but some of my favorite tech that definitely needs to coexist alongside all of that stuff. Let's get into it. Let's go. There's been so many changes that I've been making to pretty much everything recently, from my guitar chains. I mean, check this out. Here's the Corey Wong plugin, the Tone King, Nameless, Rabier, and that's just a really small sample of what we can control in the door. The guys that are YouTube members have been seeing my progress over the last couple of months. So if you really like the deep and the real nitty gritty geeky stuff, then definitely consider being a YouTube channel member so you see all the behind scenes of all this crazy stuff that goes on. The pedal board aside, there's a couple of key pieces of hardware that's really changed the way that I work recently, and I thought I'd share more about what those hardware devices are. So the first thing is Mac Studio. We changed over from running an iMac, 2019 iMac with an i9 processor, 40 gig of RAM, SSD. It was no slouch. It did a pretty damn good job for the period that we had it. But all the plugins and especially video editing used to push that thing to its limits. And then when we started to stream more frequently, we were using a Mac Mini, an M1 Mac Mini, and that showed so much promise. In fact, on the last studio tour, you would have seen those two machines side by side. And now we've changed over to a single monitor with a Mac Studio. And I went for the Ultra spec. Now I can run a lot more plugins at lower buffer settings without those dreaded clicks and pops. And when it comes to video editing and rendering and stuff like that, the render times have came down dramatically. So anytime we gain more time back, that's an absolute plus. And the more plugin vendors that switch over to being Apple Silicon native, then it just keeps getting better as plugins get updated. There is another piece to the puzzle though, and that is storage. It's something that has really concerned me, not just for myself, but other musicians for the longest time. The amount of times that I've opened up Facebook, for example, and seen a status like, oh no, just lost 2 years of work, including my album, because my hard drive died, my external USB drive died, or my computer died. Damn, I just wouldn't want to be in that situation. And I have tried to be really cautious when it comes to protecting my data in the past. You know, I've done the obvious things like having a stack of USB drives, which is not ideal because, you know, you end up copying stuff around, then you run out of space, then you need to format one, and it's like, where's the backup? Where's the redundancy? You don't want to be thinking about this stuff when you're in that creative mood, you know? So around a year ago, after purchasing yet another external SSD drive, I started to think more seriously about this whole thing. You know, what can give me loads and loads of terabytes of storage? What can give me the speed to edit huge projects? For example, that last Rabier plugin, the Archetype Rabier video, that whole file, well, whole folder of files was close to 1 terabyte of data for that video. And the reason for that is because we have so many 4K compound layers. So essentially when we're running all of those layers, it's like we're dealing with 18 to 20 layers of 4K footage, hence why it's almost 1 terabyte. It's absolutely massive for that 12, 13 minute video. If you factor in all of the School of McRock lessons and other content that's always on the go, we need loads and loads of storage and lots of very, very fast storage. But at the same time, I wanted it to be quiet. You know, I don't want to be sitting here and thinking I'm about to take off because there's a jet engine in the corner or something. We wanted redundancy because drives ultimately can fail. So that's quite a lot to ask from a NAS. And all of that led me to this guy here, the QNAP, the TVS 672XT. Let me grab my phone and I'll take you on a little tour because this guy is now under my desk and it's absolutely incredible. So let me put my guitar down. Right under where I work, it is super quiet. It's got 3 times 14 terabyte drives and 3 times 2 terabyte SSD drives and a couple of 1 terabyte NVMe drives for the system and cache duties. So it's absolutely just fully loaded with drives. But the awesome thing is like, as drives get cheaper over time, then you can replace those drives and build the pools so you get even more storage. And right above it is QNAP's 10 gigabit managed switch, which is what the Mac Studio is plugged into, and then into the NAS device itself. So the speed and throughput of this thing is absolutely just crazy. Let me jump back up on my chair because I've been skipping today. Skipping. Yes, skipping. Been working on my fitness. Skipping's my new thing. For this week anyway. When we had the previous system, the iMac, that didn't have 10 gigabit Ethernet, it had just gigabit Ethernet. We were using this QNAP Thunderbolt to 10 gigabit adapter to get us through for that period, and it worked really well. And another way that I connected it was actually via a Thunderbolt directly from the NAS to the iMac, and that worked really well. I guess that technically is called a DAS connection. I'm still learning some of the terminology, and you know, I'm still a bit of a noob, so at the same time, all of this stuff had to be really user-friendly and intuitive to set up. And the QNAP system was absolutely just on the money. It was really, really cool, easy to set up. So the way that I've configured the storage pools is I have an all SSD storage pool, which is for things like Final Cut and Ableton and Shred Club. Definitely get subscribed because Shred Club is returning soon and it's looking sick. It's going to be so much fun. And then the other storage pool is the mechanical drives, which is where we have 3 of those 14 terabyte drives. Now because they're all pooled together and they have a cache drive as well, the speed on that pool is absolutely crazy. Like, I can literally copy 100 gigabytes over to it in like 20 seconds. It's unbelievable. It's just super fast, really, really quiet. Plus, I've got that peace of mind that if I ever lose a drive, all my data is going to be intact, and that means a lot to me. And QNAP, they haven't sponsored this video, but I highly recommend you check them out for all the reasons that I mentioned earlier, and just for that peace of mind. I couldn't imagine losing 14 terabytes of data and an external drive, you know, crash or fail. I mean, that would be like, oh, that would be an absolute nightmare. So there we go. Let me know if you have a certain piece of gear that's non-guitar related that makes a massive difference to your day-to-day. If you want to see why Steve Vai cut into my guitar, click here. And if you want to see me shredding on live TV when I was 8 years old, then click here. I'll see you on the next one. You guys take it easy. Cheers.